Hi, I'm L-Dog. I've been part of the Ring Racers community for over 7 years, ever since SRB2 Kart released, and conservatively, I've played over 2,000 hours across both games. Over the course of those 2,000 hours, I have learned a lot, and I'm here to share my insights with you so you don't need to spend nearly that long learning. This is my relatively unscripted video on ring economy. This is more of a 102 course. You're expected to know how to use rings already, but just in case you don't know how, or you've never played Ring Racers, I'll demonstrate quickly for you. If you do know already, or you're sick of my yapping, there will be timestamps below for you to jump ahead. The name of the game is Ring Racers. Using rings is one of the main and most important things you will do while playing. While the tutorial does a great job of explaining the basics, there are many nuances to using rings. Understanding them is one of the key differences between an intermediate and advanced racer. While rings are influenced by your character's stats, the techniques I'll demonstrate can apply to just about anyone on the grid. So, basically, you press item without an item in your slot, and you'll spend rings instead. You can hold up to 20, and they give you a small speed boost. There's a slight delay between ring usage and ring boost. If you take a look at my ring count in the bottom left, you'll see a small ring. This is used to indicate ring boost. While you have ring boost, the ring will spin faster and faster, coming to a stop as it falls off. Like so. It can be difficult to keep track of your ring total and the road ahead at the same time. What many players overlook, or rather, over-listen, is the distinct sound that plays when you spend your last few rings in reserve. Listen closely and you'll hear a subtle metallic click behind the typical ring sound. It grows louder as I approach 0 rings. Once you pick up on it, this cue is indispensable to good ring management. I'll spend 1 ring here so that you can hear the normal sound. Nice and clean. And I'm going to slowly spin down to 0. See if you can pick up on the typewriter-like sound that plays. It's pretty obvious with those last 3 rings. Let's start with a simple example. This sweeping U-turn in Panic City is a great place to showcase using ring boost to maintain your speed through a drift. This is one of the best use cases for rings, as drifting slows you down, but is a valuable tool for cornering and getting extra speed through drift sparks. You normally come into this turn at some speed, so I'll start by fully charging a spin dash before drifting through the turn. Yeah. As you can see, despite holding outwards through the entire drift, we still end up stuck in the off-road by the end of the turn. Now, let's try using some rings to maintain more speed through the turn. As you can see, using rings keeps us in control and right on track. Drifting slows you down, rings speeds you up. It's an intuitive use case for nearly every turn in the game. Rings can also be useful to accelerate out of a turn instead of waiting for a time-sensitive drift spark to charge. Take this final corner on Storm Rig. It's right before the finish line, so you'll often want to go for broke to snag the checkpoint EXP or your final placement. First, let's drive it normally using no rings. Gonna come around this long spiral here. And accelerate all the way to the finish. Not bad. The spark and sneaker panels help us get back up to speed relatively quickly. However, we can abuse the sneaker panels to forego a spark and take the corner very tight, with the help of a few rings. So, let's try it again. As you can see, although we don't get a high tier spark to help us accelerate out of the turn, we begin moving towards the finish line much more quickly. It's the difference between moving directly towards the finish line and laterally alongside the finish line. This slope on Darkvile Castle can be a real killer with few rings. In a real race scenario, this is a great opportunity to listen for the metallic tang of your last few rings, as running out here can easily end your race. Let's take this straight away with no rings and you'll see exactly what I mean, if you've been lucky enough to never experience this yourself. This sucks, even doing it for a video. And it's absolutely painful to exit the turn. As you can see, I can just about maintain like 50% speed, and exiting this slope is a painful affair. I'm sure most people know that rings can help you get up slopes, but it's important to remember that this applies to all slopes, even banked hairpins or straightaways like this. Check out how much easier it is to exit the turn by using just a few rings. Gonna use rings here. Nice and easy. I can come out of the turn with much more speed because I can fight gravity to drift around the corner. Motobug Motorway showcases how useful strengthening and extending boost using rings can be. These sneaker panels in front of me are a prime place to slip tide given the tight hairpin immediately afterwards. Some players may assume they shouldn't use rings here due to the panels. What's the point when you're already going fast? Well, you may be able to drift around here with no rings, but charging a slip tide to the point of a wave dash is off the table. However, with just a few rings, you'll find we can gracefully exit this corner with a burst of speed. And I'm gonna stack over the sneaker panel here, and come around here real tight. While there aren't so many make or break scenarios where you're forced to spend rings to take a corner gracefully, speed types especially benefit from stacking ring boost with sneaker panels, netting about 10% more speed than usual. That might not sound like a lot, but going 10% faster than the competition at every opportunity will really add up over the course of an entire race. A common misconception from new players is that you can't use rings while you have an item. While in general the concept is sound, it's really only half true. This long stretch on Withering Chateau is the perfect place to introduce ring buffering. Ring Racer subscribes to Pan and Kodak's definition of a half button press. There are several scenarios where the negative edge, or second half, of a button press is used, such as releasing item as 0 rings to activate your amps. You must press item to confirm an item roulette. However, if you are already holding item, the roulette will continue to spin as you spend rings. Holding the item button before an item capsule or item box is called ring buffering. Watch as I spend rings up this entire slope while the item roulette continues to spin. As I spend the rings up this slope, it gives me plenty of time to watch the roulette and react to my surroundings. For example, if somebody behind me pulls a Jaws, I can see the reticle and react by pulling a defensive item. Otherwise, it might be wise to go for a super ring or a more disruptive trap item, such as a Toximister or Eggmark. Ring buffering can be extended to capsules as well. Take these drop target capsules on Angel Island, which are followed by some juicy ring patches ripe for the taking. Yum. In general, ring buffering is something that can be useful on nearly every map in the game. I would recommend experimenting with it yourself. Over time, you'll begin to learn where it's more and less effective. Big jumps with a lot of airtime don't really necessitate ring buffering, but this long spiral immediately after an item set is a great opportunity. So far, we've talked about micro ring economics, but what about macro ring economics? Ring boxes. While struggling players may eschew the silver ring boxes in favor of item boxes with the promise of power items, ring payouts are one of the most consistent ways to catch up in the entire game. While item boxes give you a variety of items ranging from speed and power to offensive items, ring boxes will always net a consistent speed boost regardless of your proximity to other players. Ring boost scales with time. A longer ring boost is a faster ring boost. While being paid out rings, the blue number next to your ring count, ring boost falls off less aggressively, letting you stack its effects much more potently. One ring box on its own might not feel like much, but chaining several ring boxes in a row, or Ringmaxxing for short, can net you some serious and consistent speed. Sunday Drive is a great place to show off Ringmaxxing in action. While slower characters with longer ring boosts benefit more from Ringmaxxing, it's easily applicable to everyone in the stat grid, save maybe Class I. Buffering rings with this first ring box set will allow me to chain 2 together quickly, resulting in a large payout that will last me a long time. So I'm gonna just keep spending rings, buffering them through this set. I'm gonna get the jackpot here, confirm a second jackpot here. You'll see I have over 250 rings queued up, and I can just absolutely zoom on through. In general, you'll gain more overall speed from letting the rings flow themselves, rather than holding item to spend your payout. However, the extra momentary speed gained by spending a payout can be very useful for cutting tripwires or escaping a dangerous situation. Use your best judgment. While Ringmaxxing is great for eventual, consistent comebacks, it's a poor choice for last-second steals or raw speed checks. Luckily, we can still make use of ring boxes for this via amps. Did you know that amps impact your ring boost strength? It's not immediately obvious, as you need to spend all your rings to access your amps. However, by chaining our amps into a ring box, or Ampmaxxing, we can get the best of both worlds and avoid the dangers of ring sting while building a ton of speed in a short window. Keep an eye on my input display in the bottom right. I'll be using the negative edge of my item button press to activate my amps, followed by a quick repress to confirm the ring roulette. I'm gonna burn down to 0 here. We can make it through the tripwire. And come all the way around the rest of the map with this very big ring payout. As you can see, we easily cut the tripwire following the item set and continue to chain ring boxes all the way around the track. Just be very careful not to fall off the map, as getting light snaked will waste your payout and completely reset your ring boost. Be liberal with the break. Slowing down momentarily is no sweat with a 100 ring payout to accelerate you back to speed. The final macroeconomic concept I'd like to discuss is Bailmaxxing, but it's quite difficult to showcase on my own in Match Race, so allow me to inflate my ego just a little by showing you this replay of a textbook Bailmax play as I narrate over it. We can fast forward through the beginning here. Bailmaxxing abuses Ring Bail to stun oneself without actually taking damage. Stun slows ring payouts to a crawl, allowing you to rack up hundreds of rings for a very long ring boost. At the end of lap 1 here, I've taken a fair few hits, I'm way in the back, and this is when I see my opportunity. Ring Bail puts you 1 hit from death, so being out of reach of most other players makes this a safer opportunity to bail. Additionally, Bailmaxxing takes quite a long time to work, although the effects are very potent. Starting at the beginning of lap 2 will set me up to end my race with a lot of speed. You can see, by the beginning of lap 3, I have over 500 rings in reserve. Pay attention to the minimap and watch my icon absolutely zoom past everyone else. Near the end of the lap, it becomes apparent that my payout won't end before the race does, so I begin spending it for that extra bit of speed and cruise into first with absolutely no issue. A textbook Bailmax play, if I do say so myself. So, to conclude, rings can be used in a variety of ways, be it accelerating out of a turn, stacking over sneaker panels, or fighting gravity on slopes. Rings can be buffered through item boxes and capsules to keep spending even as your item slot is occupied. As well, large quantities of rings from payouts are a very consistent way to keep speed with your rivals and accelerate through the pack. Ring boxes can be augmented with each other, amps, and ring bail, allowing for slightly different applications depending on your circumstances. Thanks for watching another Ring Racers 102 guide. I hope this was informative, and although I tried to cover a variety of topics, I only really scratched the surface of each. Experimenting with these concepts on your own will always yield the best and most informative results. The only way to learn is by failing repeatedly, especially Bailmaxxing. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if there are any other aspects of the game that confuse you or warrant a deep dive, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.